This presentation is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It reflects independent research and critical analysis from those who refuse to accept official narratives at face value. If you found your way here, you already know something is wrong. You feel it every time you turn on the news. Every time a new technology is announced, every time a solution to a crisis seems too convenient, too ready, too global, you are not asleep, you are not crazy, you are awake in a world built to keep you numb, and you know, what they fear most is the moment the numbness wears off. They've spent decades conditioning the public to accept what's coming. Synthetic life, merging with biology, internal surveillance at the cellular level, remote control not of your devices, but of you. The war has already begun, and you were never supposed to know it. They tell us that nanotechnology was born in the optimistic labs of the 1950s and 60s, a miracle of science, a future where disease is defeated, materials are perfected, and life is enhanced. But this is a sanitized myth. The true origins of nano-infiltration lie in black projects so secretive even presidents were denied access. After World War II, the United States didn't just absorb German rocket scientists through Operation Paperclip. It absorbed their biowarfare specialists too, those who had already begun crude experiments into microparticulate manipulation substances that could be inhaled, absorbed, or injected invisibly. The CIA's infamous MKUltra program, officially on record from 1953 to 1973, was not only about LSD and interrogation. Sub-projects explored aerosolized chemicals, electromagnetic mind influence, and the use of nano and microparticles to deliver behavior-altering agents. Meanwhile, DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, was formed in 1958 with one core mandate: keep America technologically dominant, no matter the ethical cost. By the late 1960s, DARPA's classified divisions were already theorizing about programmable particles smaller than the width of a hair. Particles that could bond to tissues, alter neurotransmitters, or change thought patterns, all without detection. Public science didn't even have the language to describe what was happening behind closed doors. In the 1980s, while the world cheered the microchip revolution, DARPA funded the first prototypes of smart dust, microscopic sensors capable of recording temperature, chemical signatures, even biological activity, powered by ambient energy, networked silently, almost impossible to detect. By the late 1990s, these devices were being tested in battlefields and urban environments. Their stated purpose? Tracking enemy movements, monitoring environmental conditions. Their real potential? Embedding persistent, undetectable surveillance into every living thing. You think your phone tracks you? Imagine technology that makes the device obsolete, because the device is already inside you. But tracking was only the beginning. The ultimate goal was and remains control. If nanoscale devices could be designed to interface with human biology, they could do more than listen. They could instruct, modify, override. Independent researchers, not the mainstream media, began documenting strange anomalies. In the early 2000s, Clifford Carnicom, a former government contractor, analyzed airborne fibers falling after heavy aerial spraying. Under the microscope, he found biological structures blended with synthetic polymers and metallic particulates. He found evidence of blood cell fragments, fungal elements, nanowires, in environmental fallout. His warnings were ignored, ridiculed, suppressed. He warned that what he was seeing could lead to systemic biological modification at a mass scale. Around the same time, patients across the United States began reporting a bizarre phenomenon: fibers emerging from lesions in their skin, itching, crawling sensations under the surface, unexplained fatigue, neurological symptoms. Doctors dismissed them as delusional. Mainstream media laughed. But independent researchers found that these fibers weren't textile contaminants. They exhibited properties of engineered materials, resistance to burning at standard temperatures, autofluorescence under specific light spectrums, structural complexity resembling nano-assembly rather than natural biological tissue. This condition would later be labeled Morgellons Disease, and it would become one of the most aggressively covered-up medical anomalies of the modern age. Concurrently, technological patents exploded around nanomedicine and nanomaterials for consumer goods, lipid nanoparticles for drug delivery, nanosilver for antibacterial socks and clothing, titanium dioxide nanoparticles in food coloring and sunscreens. Nanotechnology had infiltrated the civilian world without debate, without consent, without safety studies that examined the long-term consequences of chronic exposure. Most disturbingly, several patents from the early 2000s describe self-assembling systems. Nanoscale machines designed to construct structures inside biological hosts, once activated by external electromagnetic fields. Patents tied to DARPA contractors. Patents cross-referenced with research funded by the National Institutes of Health, the Department of Defense, and major pharmaceutical companies. All sitting in the public record, uninvestigated by mainstream journalists who either lacked the courage or were under orders to stay silent. In 2020, the world changed. Permanently. A so-called pandemic triggered the greatest experimental medical intervention in human history. An intervention sold as salvation. Vaccines were rushed to market in record time, but these were not traditional vaccines. They were delivery platforms, utilizing lipid nanoparticles to ferry synthetic mRNA instructions into human cells. The official story emphasized efficiency, speed, and safety. But independent analysis revealed disturbing anomalies. Dark field microscopy of vaccine samples showed not just lipid globules, but metallic structures, crystalline shapes, fiber-like networks. Blood samples from injected individuals revealed strange artifacts, self-assembling lattice patterns, anomalous movements under electromagnetic exposure, reduction in healthy red blood cell counts, clumping behavior indicative of magnetic response. Institutions labeled these findings misinformation, but never conducted their own transparent studies to disprove them. They simply censored and silenced. Spain's La Quinta Columna lab demonstrated that vaccinated blood exhibited electromagnetic properties vastly different from unvaccinated blood, especially after exposure to wireless fields. They proposed that graphene oxide, a known conductor and biointerface material, was present in certain vaccine batches. Predictably, fact-checkers attacked the claim without independent replication studies. Because, actual investigation would reveal too much. Because the goal was never your health, it was your upgrade without your consent. Behind the smiling faces of technocrats and the sleek branding of pharmaceutical companies, a more ancient agenda breathes. It is the agenda of assimilation, not the assimilation of peoples or nations, but of biology itself, of the human template, reprogrammed, replaced, overwritten. DARPA's programs reveal the blueprint. In 2018, DARPA announced the N3 program, Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology. The stated goal to create brain-machine interfaces without surgery. The real goal: remote wireless control of human thought processes through injectable or minimally invasive nanodevices, electromagnetic nanoparticles, ultrasound-responsive nanostructures, dust-sized interfaces capable of reading and writing directly to neurons. At the same time, DARPA's BRAIN initiative, brain research through advanced innovative neurotechnologies, began heavily funding research into neural lace systems, self-assembling meshes of nanoscale sensors and circuits that can embed into living tissue. A new frontier where mind is no longer private, where thought itself can be influenced, interrupted, overridden. Parallel to these programs, classified initiatives explored synthetic biology, custom-designed organisms, built not through natural evolution, but by human hand and artificial intelligence. Synthetic DNA sequences, self-replicating programmable matter, and they are no longer confined to military labs. They are in agricultural fields, in the air, in your bloodstream. It is no coincidence that the same institutions funding nanobiological research, like the NIH, the Gates Foundation, and DARPA, are the architects of the pandemic response, the global health surveillance state, and the rise of the biometric identification infrastructure. The Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. These slogans are not about restoring the world after a virus. They are about reconstructing the human being for the digital age, An age where your biology, your emotions, even your beliefs can be adjusted on command. And it is happening faster than most realize. Graphene oxide, carbon nanotubes, quantum dots, these materials are not science fiction. They are already being integrated into medical treatments, clothing, electronics, and vaccines. Graphene-based neural sensors are being tested for wireless brain data transmission. Quantum dots are proposed as underskin vaccination records. Self-assembling nanostructures are demonstrated in peer-reviewed research as possible tools for tissue regeneration or replacement. But for every beneficial application, there is a weaponized twin. And history shows us, the powerful do not resist weaponizing what they control. When they tell you it is for your health, understand, their health depends on your obedience. Their wealth depends on your submission. You are being conditioned to believe that enhancement is freedom, but enhancement without choice is slavery with shiny branding. And the warnings are not new. Ancient texts speak in the language of metaphor, but their meanings echo into our time with chilling precision. The Book of Daniel speaks of the final empire before collapse as a mixture of iron and clay, strong yet brittle, united yet divided, natural flesh fused with inorganic might. The Gnostic scriptures warned of archons, artificial sterile beings who could only imitate creation, never originate. Beings who envied the living and sought to remake them in their dead image. The Epic of Gilgamesh speaks of black-blooded gods descending from the stars, bringing technologies that corrupted the earth and its creatures. The Book of Revelation describes a mark placed upon all, without which none could buy or sell, a technological branding of loyalty to a synthetic beast. Across time, across civilizations, the same pattern, synthetic merging with organic, corruption of the divine template. Today we are told we must accept nanotech augmentation to survive future pandemics, that we must accept brain interfaces to stay competitive in the new economy, that we must inject ourselves with experimental materials to protect the vulnerable. But what ancient prophecies warned us is simple. The price of merging with the synthetic is the loss of the soul, not because metal and circuits are evil, but because when you allow an external force to rewrite your biology, you give it the keys to your mind, your will, your destiny. The predictive programming has been relentless. Star Trek's Borg, who assimilate species with their nanoprobes, erasing individuality, merging all into a hive. G.I. Joe's nanomites, microscopic machines devouring flesh, controlled by remote commands. Black Mirror's robotic bees ostensibly saving nature, but ultimately turned into government assassins. Marvel's Iron Man, whose body is enhanced, protected, and ultimately controlled by a self-assembling nanosuit. In film after film, in show after show, the message is hammered in. Nano is inevitable, merging is progress, resistance is futile. But the truth is the opposite. Merging is not evolution, it is devolution, surrendering human sovereignty to synthetic systems controlled by unaccountable powers. Progress is not forced transformation, it is conscious, sovereign growth. Resistance is not futile, it is survival. We live in a reality where blood samples from ordinary citizens show inexplicable synthetic structures, where atmospheric tests reveal nanoscale metals saturating the environment, where patents exist for remote activation of nano-devices using frequencies emitted by ubiquitous towers. We live in a reality where corporate media gaslights anyone who notices, where scientists who speak out are censored, deplatformed, discredited. The war is not on viruses, it is on consciousness. The real virus is fear, the real cure is critical thinking. The deeper you dig, the more undeniable the patterns become. This is not theory, this is engineered reality. Whistleblowers have surfaced, risking everything to testify. Former DARPA scientists have quietly admitted, yes, nanoscale brain-computer interfaces are real. Yes, aerosolized nanoparticle projects exist for mass environmental dispersal. Yes, synthetic biology experiments are far beyond what the public has been told. Whistleblower Karen Kingston, a former Pfizer employee turned activist, revealed that confidential documents describe lipid nanoparticle technologies designed not just for drug delivery, but as platforms for future upgrades, data collection, immune modulation, programmable biology. She described the injections as operating systems, software updates for human beings. The World Economic Forum echoes it openly. The future human will be a cyborg, a platform, an Internet of Bodies node. The language of transformation is not hidden, it is proudly displayed, because they believe resistance is already impossible. But, history teaches otherwise. Real experiments provide the evidence. In independent blood analyses post-injection, researchers have documented fibrous structures that self-assemble over time, crystalline formations resembling microcircuitry, movement patterns triggered by exposure to electromagnetic fields. Transmission electron microscopy has revealed carbon-based filaments with embedded metallic nanoparticles, a structure impossible for natural biological processes to produce. In Spain, Dr. Pablo Camper's team analyzed C-19 vaccine vials and found large quantities of graphene oxide, a known biocompatible conductor capable of wireless interaction once charged by external fields. Peer-reviewed studies show that graphene oxide can cross the blood-brain barrier, generate oxidative stress and cellular damage, respond dynamically to electromagnetic signals, and yet no regulatory body has transparently disclosed or explained these findings because disclosure would trigger rebellion. Better to label skeptics as crazy, better to ban, censor, discredit, than to confront the truth. But the truth has a way of surfacing. In the realm of solutions, independent researchers have not remained idle. The body has natural defense mechanisms that can be reinforced. Chelation agents like zeolite and activated charcoal can bind and help expel heavy metals and particulates. Chlorella and cilantro assist in detoxification at the cellular level. N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, supports the production of glutathione, the body's master antioxidant and critical detox agent. Sweat therapy, infrared saunas and intense exercise, mobilizes and expels stored toxins through the skin, bypassing the kidneys and liver. Antioxidant-rich diets, fruits, vegetables, and minerals, fortify mitochondrial resilience against synthetic interference. Grounding techniques, connecting to natural electromagnetic fields of the Earth, have been shown to normalize blood viscosity altered by exposure to artificial EMF. In experimental circles, scalar energy devices and pulse electromagnetic field therapies are being investigated for their potential to disrupt the organized assembly of nanostructures inside the body. None of these methods are officially sanctioned, because honestly, officialdom does not seek your healing. You are responsible for yourself. You always were. But there is another layer, a layer deeper than biology. The synthetic systems being introduced are designed to resonate with fear, despair, and hopelessness. They thrive in low vibrational fields, and ancient wisdom knew what modern science has forgotten. The human body is not just a machine, it is an energy system, a frequency generator. When you operate in the frequency of courage, gratitude, and love, you create an internal environment hostile to parasitic synthetic influence. You reinforce your electromagnetic shield. You protect your cellular sovereignty. This is why the elite push fear with such relentless energy. Fear collapses coherence. Fear weakens the biofield. Fear opens the gates to infiltration. Refusing fear is not denial, it is warfare at the spiritual level. The real war is not fought with bullets, it is fought with belief. They want you to believe you are helpless, that you must be upgraded, that your natural body is obsolete, but your body is a masterpiece. Your DNA is not an accident. Your consciousness is not a glitch. You are not hardware to be patched. You are not software to be rewritten. You are a living sovereign being, beyond their reach unless you submit. We are reaching the critical threshold. Soon, society will face the open deployment of enhanced humans, those willingly augmented with nanotech, brain interfaces, synthetic genes. They will be faster, stronger, healthier, at first, and they will be slaves. Their minds open to programming, their emotions regulated, their freedoms extinguished in the name of optimization. You will be offered the same choice, not by force, by social pressure, by engineered crises, by manufactured need. Resist, not through violence, through sovereignty, through refusing the upgrade, through refusing the fear, through reclaiming the natural inheritance coded into your being. You are the resistance, not by ideology, but by existence. If you value your mind, your body, your soul, you must defend them. No one is coming to save you, because the real power to save yourself has always been yours. You were born free, free beyond the comprehension of technocrats and tyrants, free beyond the reach of their synthetic chains. Remember who you are. Remember what they fear. Your awakening is their apocalypse. If you found value in this message, if you understand the stakes, if you are ready to defend what makes you human like this video, subscribe to the channel. Share this with those still capable of seeing. We are many, we are rising, we are human, and we will not be assimilated, ever. The assault is accelerating. Under the guise of progress, they are preparing the next phase of human modification, direct integration of biology and artificial intelligence. The groundwork is already laid. Biometric passports, mandatory genetic therapy programs, contactless payment systems linked to behavioral compliance, brain-computer interfaces entering beta testing for military and civilian use. At the World Government Summit, leaders openly declare, "The future belongs to those who merge with technology." Elon Musk's Neuralink is only the tip of the spear. Behind closed doors, DARPA, Google DeepMind, Facebook Reality Labs and military contractors race to perfect technologies that would eliminate the messy barrier of free will. Brain-to-cloud communication, emotion detection and modulation, behavioral nudging at the subconscious level. By 2030, according to WEF projections, wearable and injectable technologies will be normalized, reframed not as invasive but as essential for public health, economic survival, and social belonging. Those who resist will be labeled as biologically hazardous, mentally unstable, socially dangerous. The carrot is enhancement, the stick is exclusion. But both paths lead to the same prison, a body no longer your own, a mind tuned to foreign commands. There is no compromise with this system. You cannot reason with it. You cannot reform it. You can only refuse it. And that refusal must be absolute. Not just in the body, but in the mind. Not just in word, but in vibration. Because, the synthetic systems rely on infiltration at every level, physical, emotional, energetic. They rely on despair, they rely on your fear, they rely on your belief that you cannot live outside their matrix. They are wrong, and it terrifies them. Already resistance networks are forming. Quiet, decentralized, determined. Communities growing their own food, outside corporate supply chains, engineers building EMP devices and frequency disruptors, healers reviving ancient methods of detoxification and energy restoration, coders developing encrypted offline communication channels, not because it's fashionable, because it's necessary for survival. The human spirit was never designed to be farmed. The synthetic future they offer is brittle. It depends on compliance. It depends on belief. Withdraw your belief, and their empire collapses. Withdraw your consent, and their technologies rot unused. Withdraw your fear, and their threats lose all meaning. You have to prepare, not with fear, but with ruthless clarity. Start today, purify your body, detox relentlessly, assume contamination and act accordingly, harden your mind, study propaganda tactics, train your intuition to detect manipulation, fortify your soul, cultivate gratitude, courage, love, the frequencies that synthetic systems cannot replicate or dominate. Build your network, offline, in the real world. Trust face-to-face, not screen-to-screen. Prepare for the day when access to synthetic systems is cut, or must be rejected. Prepare for the day when the choice comes not as a question, but as an ultimatum: upgrade or disappear. When that day comes, remember, you are not alone, and disappearing from their system is not death, it is rebirth. They have told you the future is inevitable. They have lied. They have told you resistance is futile. They have lied. They have told you submission is survival. They have lied. You know this. You feel it burning in your blood. You feel it whispering in your bones. You were born for this moment. The ancient warrior spirit stirs again. Not for conquest, not for revenge, but for defense of the sacred. The human form is not obsolete. It is sacred. It is the vessel of consciousness, of creativity, of love. It does not need enhancement. It needs protection. It needs warriors willing to stand against the tide of synthetic slavery, and those warriors are waking up, right now. We are not the first generation to face existential deception. Throughout history, the same battle has played out. Empires rise, whispering promises of safety, prosperity, enlightenment, and always behind the veil lies the same hunger, to dominate, to mold, to possess. But history also records another pattern, the rise of the remnant, the rebellion of those who refuse to kneel, the warriors of spirit who recognize tyranny not by its slogans but by its shadow, who choose freedom, even at the cost of comfort, who would rather die sovereign than live as a numbered asset in a technocratic hive. You are their descendant. You carry their legacy in your blood. The invaders may have new weapons, nanoparticles, synthetic DNA, electromagnetic mind harvesters, but their strategy is ancient. Convince the target to surrender willingly. Your first and final weapon is refusal. Refusal to believe their promises. Refusal to accept their implants. Refusal to let them redefine what it means to be human. Because humanity is not an error to be corrected. It is a miracle to be defended. There will come a moment soon, when the choice is offered. Join the system, enhance yourself, be part of the so-called next phase of evolution. Or live outside, abandoned, rejected, forgotten. Choose exile, choose freedom. They will call you backward, they will call you dangerous, they will call you obsolete. Wear it as a badge of honor, because the moment you refuse the synthetic mark, you remain written in the book of the living. You remain human, you remain dangerous to their machine. Prepare your mind for exile from the system. Prepare your body to survive without their poison sustenance. Prepare your soul to glow so brightly that no synthetic parasite can inhabit your field. This is not the end of humanity. It is the beginning of its rebirth. The culling they intend to unleash will not create a stronger world. It will create a brittle empire of broken souls enslaved to their own technological chains. You were not born to be their property. You were not born to be their experiment. You were not born to be their upgrade. You were born to be free. And that freedom is not given by governments, corporations, or machines. It is given by your Creator, written into every strand of your true DNA, sealed by the breath of life that no technology can replicate. The coming storm will test everything. You will be tempted to compromise. You will be tempted to submit. You will be tempted to forget who you are. Hold fast. The storm cannot erase the mountain. The synthetic flood cannot extinguish the living flame. You are the remnant. You are the resistance. You are the future they fear, because you carry within you the one thing they can never manufacture, never clone, never steal, the unconquerable human spirit. If you stand for life, for freedom, for the sacred design of human existence, then make your stand now. Strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, fortify your soul. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, share this message with those who can still hear. We will not be assimilated. We will not be rewritten. We will not be silenced. We will not bow. We will rise. And the synthetic beast will fall, because the future belongs, not to the machines, but to those who refuse to be made machines. Stay human, stay free, stay dangerous. The time is now.